Sorry, there was a confusion about who was going to run the meeting. I want to call the meeting to order Monday, September 11th at 7 o'clock p.m. And if everybody would rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Council Member Sandy Farter is attending the meeting via Zoom. Just to note that, and Dave Nevin can't get connected, so I guess he's not part of our roll call. He's not present, even though he might be listening. So, anyway. I'd like to have the approval of additions to the agenda, a motion. Or if there's any corrections or additions other than those. The additional bills for approval you got in the, there's the International Association of Fire Chiefs Fire Department Exchange Program added to the agenda, and outstanding sewer connections. So if I could have a motion to approve those additions.
I'll make a motion to approve the additions.
Second.
I guess roll call.
Jackson,
Aye.
Aaron,
Yeah.
Sandy,
Aye.
Marcia,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, so I will open the public hearing now for the road right-of-way vacation request from Brian and Cheryl Evenson and John and Carolyn Forney between 11797 and 11805 Whitefish Avenue. Who wants to start? TJ just starting. Okay.
I'll just open it up. Brian and John are here behind me, and I just want to go over the motions that both commissions made. Public Works, a motion was made by Tom Swenson and seconded by Gordon Wagner to recommend that the City Council deny the right-of-way vacation request from John and Brian Evanson, or John Forney and Brian Evanson between 11805 and 11797 Whitefish Ave. Motion carried with all ayes. A motion was made by Tom, seconded by Bob Fry to recommend that the City Council work with property owners to correct erosion and drainage issues on public right-of-way. Motion carried with all yeses. And the Parks and Rec Commission made a motion to recommend a council to approve the vacation of right-of-way number 19 to the adjoining property owners, with the owners responsible for an agreement with the county to share the driveway. That motion passed 3-1. So I just wanted to let you guys know the commissions, what they voted on, and I'll turn it over to John and Brian.
I'm Brian Evenson at 11805 Whitefish Avenue.
John Forney, 11797 Whitefish Avenue.
We're here to try to get that property so we can stop some major runoff that is causing erosion in front of my property. And it's pretty extensive. I got, I believe I can plug into here. Okay. Pictures just last week, one incident, I'm sorry. That was after the fact. That's dirt and stuff from the ravine. Since I bought my place 4 years ago, it's probably tripled in size. Oops, I'm sorry, here's another picture of it. Wow, that's kind of at the end of it, right there. And, let's see here once.
Got a picture up. You got a picture.
Oh, there it is. That's 1.75 inch rain coming down from the right of way between me and John's property. My house is on this side, and as you can see what it does. And that's, you know, like I said, we get rains, that's what happens every time. I mean, I have more if you'd like to look at it other times. And I would like to, if we own this property, or you vacate it to us, I will pay to have it fixed, meaning I've talked to some landscapers and stuff to see what we can do about it. Because it is getting close to my property. I mean, it's almost maybe 20 feet from my house. And so that's the end of it right there.
So Brian, are you willing to make the improvement that you're talking about, even if we did not vacate?
Well, I don't know. I think me and my wife might be considering selling and moving on because I don't want for me to do it on your property, I'll have to start coming to a lot of meetings and working with other, you know, departments and stuff to get things done, to okay this, okay that. And I'd be willing to do that, but I don't know how that's gonna work. This process has been kind of a drain. And like if I get plans, like I have one of them through Abra to do, I can't remember what they're called, French drains to go across. Roughly, I don't know, about 3 inches high. So basically, from the end of that driveway to the end of the bluff is about 50 feet. And have one every 10 feet, so it basically slows the water up and lets it drain a little bit. It'll go over it. You know, with rain like that, you know that won't take long for it to go over, but just hopefully it slows it down enough. So when it gets there, it's not as bad.
I thought you were going to put in, according to the Public Works meeting that you were at, that you were going to put in that there'd be swales and French drains that would be put in
That's what
there.
I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I call them speed bumps. I don't know what you call them, but basically they'd have come out and place dirt, you know, so it would come up. We could still mow and stuff, but it would slow down the water.
See, I think you're getting a lot of water from the driveway. Did you have an agreement with the county, you know, when the county had that road? When it was under the county's jurisdiction, did you have an agreement that you could put your driveway in the public access?
It was the driveway when I bought in 1990.
Oh, so we don't know really where it started.
I was gonna bring a picture of, and I forgot, shoot, that was one, I was gonna bring a picture, and I can get that from when the person built my cabin, or what I have for a cabin now. It's been clear cut, and it was already there, and this is 1980. So, and that was, you could tell that there was no trees there, or if there was trees back in the 20s, 30s, whenever they started selling all the property, especially the inner property, they wanted to make those inner properties more attractive. So they said, you have access to the lake, and they just cut a swath right through there. And you could tell that people have drove there. This was in the 1980s. So, and I should have brought those. But, so it's been there since, you know, the problem started when they paved the road, meaning it used to be class 5 and, you know, just whatever. And they paved it, and it was bad when I first moved in, but there was a lot of cracks in the roads. And then when they seal coated it last summer, kind of sealed up everything, made it really smooth, and water runs down. I'm right at the bottom. So, say hypothetically, you want to take our driveway out of there, it would still be there, unless something, you know, which our garages both face the driveway right now. So, I mean, I would have to say I had to fight you on that, because I don't want to redo my driveway. And if I had to put a new driveway in, or both of us had to put a new driveway in, we'd have to cut down a bunch of white and red pines. I mean, big ones. So.
Okay, do you have anything, John?
Well, I'm in a strange position because this process has taken a while. I have now sold my house, or I will as of Friday of this week. and we've moved, staying in Cross Lake, but we've moved as of today. Long day. My concern, I guess, is not only the erosion problem, but also what it's carrying into the lakes. I mean, the first point in the comprehensive plan is to protect those lakes. And you can see, I mean, Brian has pictures of big clouds of dirt in the lake. So it is affecting the lakes. A little bit here, a little bit there, and pretty soon we've got a problem. A real problem.
It's my understanding that TJ, he went and looked at all of the rows and this was one that he determined was actually an asset to Cross Lake and recommended that we not vacate it. But I also see that, I mean, something has to be done to eliminate this, runoff and erosion. So, I mean, can't the city work with the owners to correct the situation without vacating the row?
Yeah, I think that's what the Public Works recommendation was to
Right.
not vacate, but to work with remedying the erosion,
Right.
trying to stop.
At this stage, I can't make a commitment for the new owner.
Yeah, I realize that, but
Did either of you bring a picture of where, right at the top, where it's starting and going down? Because it looked like it was probably 95% or more on your property.
It's all on my property, to be
Okay.
honest with you. Where the-
Then why,
They had, I'm sorry,
go ahead.
where they had it surveyed, it's maybe it starts right at the line and it goes all the way over. But right, almost in the center, there's starting to be a new trench that's kind of right on the city property.
On your site?
No,
No,
well, it's
it is in the city's property.
the city's
okay.
property.
Okay.
It starts, the
Yeah. That's why I was asking if you had a picture so that everyone could see it. I was out there today looking at it,
I can show you the runoff, let me see, I got a picture.
in the rain, but still there.
Has anyone done an estimate or had, what it would cost to correct the situation, regardless of who pays for it?
If I could interject, I mean, just to make sure we're on the same page legally, it's a public road until you vacate it. So the talk of what are they going to do if you don't vacate it doesn't make any sense to me. It's a city project if you don't vacate it,
Right.
period. There's not like having them work with you. That's not how the process works. So either it's a public road or it's not. If it's a public road, it's a city project, and you have a responsibility to not cause the runoff that's happening right now. And if you don't, it's on the city. If you vacate it, it's a private problem.
so Brian, you had a estimate for correcting the
I had
erosion.
one landscaping company come out, Abra, and asked him what we could do. Well, me and John, was it 2 years ago, had,
Soil and water came out,
and that's what they suggested.
essentially.
Yeah, those French dams.
Speed bumps.
Speed bumps, whatever, and put, plants on there to make sure that dirt did not move. So, and there's other things I can do if I can get that done. I mean, I'm gonna take out part of my driveway, not that, this last rain, this one you just seen a picture of was last Wednesday. Kind of, unfortunately, it was right after the meeting with the Parks and Rec. And so I went out there and I had more pictures, or I was gonna take more stuff, but my phone stopped working because of the heavy rain. But I noticed there's a little on my driveway, coming from my driveway, but not, as you can see, it's already coming down the road. But I'm gonna do whatever it takes, to get it to stop. Because it's my home, it's my cabin, and I care about the lakes, how clean they are, but my hands are tied unless I own it. So, I mean, like I said, if I don't own it, like he says, I can't do nothing about it. And if I do something, then I can get in trouble, or whatever, but I don't know if you can,
Is it coming up?
that's coming up, well, there.
You
Yeah,
didn't,
he has a
Yeah.
picture.
you didn't find it?
There's a picture right now.
Oh,
And I don't know,
is that city
no,
property?
that's my property
Oh.
right there. I want to say, let me look here one second. see if it's harder.
But can we see the
It
stake?
It starts right at the city property. I want to say that big tree that's kind of halfway dead, if you look straight down, that's where it is. And then you can just see on, where is it? Well, on that side of the tree, you can see another one starting to come down. And that is on city property. But it's, if you look at the one with all the water, it's literally in front of my cabin. It's all draining straight down and then right over to my place. I mean, and I know, when I bought this place 4 years ago, I seen that and talked to the person and they kind of said, oh, it hasn't gotten any bigger. And well, it was on the market for a while and like I said, so I thought, well, me and John, we first, 2 or 3 years ago, we came to the council to repave the road and do those speed bumps in the road. And we paid for it ourselves, and it was crushed granite. And it does get the water over to the sides a little bit, but it comes right back. And over the years, with the plow guy coming, they're still there, you can see moving a little water, but it's not that, you know. So I would, after I did with Abra, I would do that again with the road, myself again. And like I said, I have to stop this, so I wanna, you know, if you don't give it to me, please fix it for me. I guess
Okay.
what my last words are. I mean, that's all
Okay.
TJ's got it.
Any,
I understand, I've heard some things about not so good about French drains. They tend to freeze and become all kinds of problems. So I'm questioning whether a French drain is a valid correction out there, especially with the steepness that you're dealing with.
Aaron, from my own personal experience, because our downspouts and gutters drop into
French
French
drains.
drains, and I have had no problems
You have it,
there.
okay.
No.
I've heard from some contractors.
It doesn't have mud and sand packing up a French drain either, off your downspout.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
It's all
true.
sand out there.
Right, but I mean, you don't have sand coming off your roof. to pack
Oh,
up
no,
a French
right,
drain,
right.
like where you're gonna have sand coming
But,
down.
but the water that does go into the French drain
Right.
dissipates into the soil.
okay.
I
We haven't
I
had a
would
problem.
get somebody that, like an engineer that understands before I'd ever invest in that kind of a expensive process, okay?
Okay, is there anything else? Is
Giving
there,
you fair warning, I don't want you to do something and have it fail.
Well, I personally don't think it will, from what
Okay.
the average gentleman told me, and, I mean, I don't think it's gonna stop all the water.
Oh, no.
But I gotta start somewhere, like in the road, I mean, on my side, I can even, when that water goes around, like I said, that ain't gonna solve it all, but I have to solve a little at a time, because it's getting bigger.
Yeah.
okay, TJ, did you have something?
Yeah, just for the record, regarding when we conducted the site visit back on 6/1 of 2023, our comments that we listed, there is a driveway encroachment. Vegetation is maintained as a part of the yard. Very large gully washout caused by runoff of the right-of-way, steep bluff, no use agreement. The right-of-way benefits we listed, possible viewing vista, and then the right-of-way drawbacks we listed, steep bluff, driveway encroachment, no current access to the water due to the bluff. So that's what we have in our notes as,
So the committee is saying it's an asset and you want to sign it as a public access.
I don't have that in here as listed as an asset. That, what I just read is what we have in our records
Oh,
for site
okay.
visit.
So you don't have it on your 16 that you want to sign?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, so is there anybody else that wants to speak to this vacate?
To me, it seems like if the owner is willing to correct the situation, I'm concerned about the lake, the runoff into the lakes and the health of the lake. And it sounds like it's going to be an expensive enterprise. So I feel like, to me, keeping the row doesn't seem like the best idea, that we should vacate it. That's just my opinion, based on what I've just heard here tonight. I don't know how anybody else feels about that.
Okay.
John Andrews, 11316 Manhattan Point Boulevard. I'm mostly interested in the quality of the lakes and keeping silt and junk out of the lakes. The city has spent a lot of money getting grants over the last 4 years to keep stuff out of the lakes. And looking at this, we got stuff going in the lake. So however we can get it from going in, I think we owe that to the city of Cross Lake to figure it out. Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Heather Jones, 12053 Pinedale Street. Couple things about this, what TJ was talking about, the encroachments, the driveway and the maintained lawn. There's also an irrigation system with a sprinkler head right in the middle of the right-of-way, adding more water to that spot, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but, and then it's a public right-of-way, and I just don't think we should be getting rid of these, even if it's not on this initial list of 16 from the right-of-way committee, doesn't mean it's useless to us long-term. I mean, these, once they're gone, they're gone. And we need to protect these spaces and keep them from being overtaken by more buildings and driveways. And anyways, I think it's worth keeping them because they can be useful someday. And who knows, there might be a council that does want to put stairs on some of these. Or, I mean, we don't know. And just getting rid of them when they're gone, they're gone. So I would just hope that we don't start vacating these just, I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to address the vacate? Okay.
A couple comments
the-
before there's a council vote. Oh, I don't want to let Mike talk before me, but I had a couple points after Mike talks.
Good evening, Mike O'Connell, 34088 White Oak Drive, Cross Lake, Minnesota. I just want to, you can hook it up and go to your video. Just for some points of clarification with Aaron's question and such. All right, so as you look at this video here, everything with the timber frame is a city road right away. That's neither personal property owner's property. As he turns around and looks behind himself towards the lake, you'll see 2 stakes. So see the stake on the left with the orange ribbon? And then the stake on the far right? That's the city road. So see how the city road is causing the damage? And then it's draining to the left, which would be, what's your name?
Brian.
Brian's property. So the city is causing damage on personal property. So that kind of goes along with what Sandy is saying that, and what we would, and Brad would be saying is, the owners can't partner with you to do that. So they're asking for a logical, not an emotional, response of vacating this case by case like a variance. I know a lot of emotion goes into giving these up. I wouldn't, looking at this, either it's going to be a city expense. That's going to be a great expense if, like Aaron went out there, if you look down that hill, that's not an accessible hill by any means. It's a dangerous goat trail, a liability. So if you vacate it, you're giving the ability, taking it off the liability of the city and putting it on the expense of the owners that are going to obtain it. It's not wrecking John's land, as you can see to the right there, but it's wrecking Brian's land, and he's willing to pay the extra money to correct this. They both were willing to go into it. It went too far through the process that John has sold and is closing on Friday, and the new owner has no benefit or say to this. The John's sale isn't contingent on this at all. So, but when I look at this picture, and just to have that point of clarity, I think that's very important to help. And the city's property is not only bringing all the runoff into the lake, that's been there for more than 30, 40 years. Before any of these people owned this property, the driveway was already there. So they didn't improve on this. They're just trying to correct it as time has gone on and it's deteriorated it, if that helps.
Could we have some kind of assurance or contract or something that if we were to vacate this road, that Brian would actually correct it, adequately correct it? I mean, would say,
Yes, I'll write down, I mean, I can only do what the experts tell me. Like I said, doing the road again. If I have to dig a ditch on my side to collect my water, I can't speak for the new owner, you know, as far as on the other side, because like I said, as far as the driveway coming down, you know, have them redo it again, the class, or the granite kind of class 5, to make sure it stays this time. Last time we got it done in late September, so I don't know if it had time to, between the rain packing it down and our vehicles packing it down, I don't know if it had time, because, you know, the snowplow comes through every time it snows. I'm gonna do that again, and I will put in those, the water is not gonna go the way it is right now. I mean, it might, if I can slow it down 75%, it'll stop the wash down. I mean, I'm gonna do whatever I can, because if you went out there and looked, the edge of that ravine is probably right there from my house. So, I mean, it's getting bigger and it's getting wider. So I want to say there's a tree that's going to fall in that's on the side of it, I'd say within the next couple of years. If I don't do something, it's going to be right at my deck. And when the original owner built it, he probably built it today's standards too close to the edge. But that's, you know, that's not my fault, and I, like I said, but I can assure you I will get something done, and I'll put it in writing and whatever you want.
Okay, so,
And as far as like the irrigation system, there's one head there, and that's nice grass right there. If we left it alone and just let everything grow up there, how are they gonna walk down there in the first place then? Now they can at least walk down there. And in all the years I've been there, it's only been 5, I have not seen one person there.
okay.
So, I mean, that's all I got to say. Sorry.
Probably the reason that nobody goes down there to look is because they think it's private property. It looks like you'd be trespassing if you went down that driveway and the manicured lawn there in front. And that's the reason for no one using it. But if it was signed, I think you would have a different, you'd have a different story.
I want them all signed. I don't want just mine signed as far as like public, you know, public property. You know what I'm saying? Because then you're kind of throwing it at me.
Yeah, but the.
Which is fine, I don't mind it.
The committee is looking into
Right.
that, but I feel like if we don't vacate, that the city, in my opinion only, is that we should take care of the erosion and take care of the runoff the way it is, that we would take care of that. But do we have to go through each one of those questions?
Well, first of all, a couple of points, and then it's up to different councils. It's in your packet, so it's FYI, the council and the committee wanted you to have all the information you could to make a good decision. You could go through that. You don't have to, in my opinion.
Okay.
At least you've got the things that they've worked on in front of you, so their work's not wasted when it gets to council. My only points were I think two. One, if you don't vacate it, I've said this many times, but just pictures help explain it better. There is a liability and responsibility when you own land. So when you have right-of-ways that are that close to bluffs and private improvements, and there are drainage issues, the city has liability if you don't vacate it. That's one point to make. That doesn't mean you should vacate it, just if you don't, there are consequences. If you do vacate it, I would recommend that you pass a motion saying that you're not going to record or make the vacation complete until both owners, especially the guy that's not here today, the one that Forney sold to, signs a shared easement agreement that talks about how the two owners are going to work together to maintain that easement. I don't think we want to pass this with both owners have not signed off on that of record. So that would be a recommendation if you vacate. Not relevant if you don't vacate.
I don't know if.
Thanks, Brad.
I don't know if it's been read into the record, but the Public Works Committee voted unanimously not to vacate. Am I correct on that?
That's what TJ
Yeah.
That's what TJ had said.
But wasn't there an amended motion indicating that the owners would work with the city, would contribute to the cost of repairing it?
But it's all or nothing.
This is about the third time that I'm aware of that we'll be down there repairing that same area. And they're not abiding by the no-mow zone down at the bluff. And there's some different things I believe that they had been asked to do, and I can't remember too long ago.
Yeah. Our second motion was based on, the engineer went out and looked at it along with Patrick, and there were some things they were gonna try to do up in the right-of-way of Whitefish Avenue to slow the water up there. And then, lost my train of thought. Oh, and Brad's comment about, you know, it's either a city project or where we were saying work with the property owners was part of the engineer's recommendation was to put some diversion so that when the water does come down the driveway, it spreads out into the adjacent property owners where it's up there and flat away from the bluff. So that's kind of the history of, you know, we weren't in favor of approving the vacation, but that was kind of based on Patrick and the engineer's thoughts on things they could do. And then, like I say, as far as working with the property owners, it may take some sort of drainage easement on private property if some of that water gets diverted before it starts going down the driveway.
Okay. Pat, did you go out there with the engineer?
Yeah, we were out there and looked at it. We talked about putting kind of a berm about a third of the way down the driveway, across the whole driveway and going out into both the yards to kind of build like a wall to stop the water there before it goes all the way down.
And the engineer feels like that's going to take care of it so that the water isn't rushing down the hill?
It'll take care of a percentage of it. How much, we can't guarantee on that.
Okay. Any other discussion? I would entertain a motion to either vacate or not vacate on this.
Marcia, could we include, you know, an addendum that, you know, as Brad indicated, that we don't rule to vacate until we have some kind of a signed, you know, guarantee that the owners will adequately eliminate the erosion situation and the flow into the lake?
Is there a motion one way or the other? Or is there a motion to deny the vacation?
I'm not in favor of vacating it, okay? So my motion would be to deny.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, but if we can vote to fix it first, that'd be great.
Well, I think we can do that in the next motion. Roll call?
Sandy,
Oh, I'm opposed to that motion.
Marcia,
Yes, to
Jackson,
vacate.
Yes, or wait, what, did you say yes to vacate? No.
Oh, not to vacate, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You meant
to deny.
yeah,
Yeah.
to deny. So, yes,
Well, a yes would be to deny.
deny.
To deny.
Yes.
Okay.
Are you
Oh,
okay,
she-
Sandy?
She said no.
I'm nay.
Okay. You're not in favor of denying it? Okay.
I'm not in favor of denying it.
Marcia,
Denying it. So I
Jackson,
vote for it.
Deny.
3-1.
Yep, motion carries. Okay, can I entertain a motion to move forward on correcting the erosion on that right away?
I'll make a motion that we correct the erosion on the right-of-way.
I couldn't hear him, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to correct the erosion on the right-of-way.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Aaron,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Marcia,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
So we'll close the public hearing on that. Public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issues raised. If council requires more information or time for consideration, the issues will be placed on the agenda of the next regular council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address at the discretion of the mayor. Each speaker is given a 3-minute time limit. Is there anyone that wants to? We got one.
Hello again. Jonathan Grothy. I'm here representing the Cross Lakers. I'm basically here to talk about Friday, September 29th, during Cross Lake Days from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We'll be having a Cross Lake Town Hall community update in this room. City Hall, like I say, September 29th, Friday, from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock that evening. It's going to be an open house setting with areas of information on a few different things that are happening right now. The first will be, engineers will have some updates and so on from the County Road 66 and 3 road work, intersection work, and sidewalk project that'll be going on. There'll be an area for showing some landscape enhancement, and in that area, we're looking for comments, input, and just general ideas and input so that we get community input on what might go on there. There'll be an area for the Loon Center updating you with what's going on with their new location and some of those aspects. Fourth area would be the proposed bike or trail, which you'll hear more about in the mayor's report and number 2 there, the Lakes Foundation Trail Feasibility Report. And an area that the superintendent of Pequot Lakes Schools will be at, which again you'll hear later is in your city administrator report under number 6 there. Pequot Lakes Public Schools in November 2023, there'll be a board referendum and capital projects levy, which will be during the November election period. So we have an area for people to come hear more, be more involved in the community that way. The desire is that all of the city council be there to answer questions and be a part of this and some of the information gaining. And for just general public, residents, et cetera, in the Cross Lake area and beyond, to gain input, to be generating ideas, to be answering questions, and just be kind of informal presentations. So I welcome everybody from the area to be a part of that. And any questions?
I do have a question, but it's a little bit different on the topic.
Okay.
Thursday, we have a meeting with the Loon Center. Is that still on? There was supposed to be legislators coming or something.
I haven't heard anything.
You'll cover it? Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, John. Anyone else? Okay, then we're going to move on to the consent calendar. All items here listed are considered to be routine by the city council and will be acted on by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a citizen or council member so requests. Is there anybody that wants to poll anything? No? So I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as
Sorry, I
submitted.
thought you were.
That's right. Now you can second it.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Marcia,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Sandy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. Resolution accepting donations. We have donations, one from, I'll list them. Roger Schwaders, $50 to the police department. Cross Lake Firefighters Relief Association, $94.36 for sauna expenses. Pell Foundation, $105 for Bridge Club room rental. Pell Foundation, $770.24 memorial bench. Pell Foundation, $1,780 for Fun in the Park program. And Pell Foundation, $4,522.33 for Pine River Overlook Park. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution and accept the donations?
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution, accept the donations.
I'll second.
I'll second the motion.
Go ahead.
Or Aaron can.
Go ahead.
Okay, roll
Jackson?
I
call.
second.
Aye.
Aaron?
Aye.
Sandy?
Aye.
Marcia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
The next thing on the agenda is Mike O'Connell and the feasibility report on the Lakes Foundation Trail.
Okay, Mike O'Connell, Lake Foundation, 34088 White Oak Drive. Last month I came to the city council asking for the go-ahead to raise the funds of the $20,000 to create the WSN feasibility study for off-road in right-of-way bike path along County Road 3, East Shore Road, Happy Landing Road, and 103. Over the last month was able to raise the $20,000 with the contribution of WSN, Cross Lake Ideal Lions Club, Greater Cross Lake Area Foundation, the PAL Foundation, and the Cross Lakers, along with the Lake Foundation donations to raise those funds. And I provided the feasibility study to the city on Thursday. That I believe it was added to your guys' package. I know it's 27 pages here that you probably got right before the weekend, so maybe not had the full opportunity to review everything, but just wanted to let you know that it has been completed and presented. And if you have any technical questions on that or beginning questions, we do have Thomas Rentz, which is a civil representative from Witsa Smith and Nolting, that would know a little bit more about those kind of questions beyond my pay grade. And then as part of the Lake Foundation, to raise, this would be the low, easy step in the big process here that we're going to move forward with to try to alleviate as much expense to the city of Cross Lake as possible in the tax dollars. We want to base these trails as we move forward off of pre-existing trails similar to West Shore Drive and Manhattan Point Peninsula that have been very successful and well received by the community. There certainly will be obstacles, and we'll learn as we go through those processes and work hand in hand with the city, with all the departments as needed to go through the process, due diligence on all of this to accomplish public notices, permits, public forums, matching departments, timeframes. So we work as a community as a whole. So we're really thankful for all of the mentioned charitable organizations and community organizations of Cross Lake that all soundingly unanimously supported this verbally and financially. To raise the additional funds, as you see in the report, is leading up to approximately for 1.7 miles of trail is going to be approximately around $2 million. So as I look through working with grants through WSN, the Crow Wing County, the Parks Department, and additional options of charitable foundations through Brainerd Lakes Area Community Foundations and additional options that can lead us to larger contributions towards that $2 million goal, along with corporate and personal donations. So that'll be the long road ahead for us as the Lake Foundation to accumulate as much of that money as we can and then bring it back to you in a timely fashion. Here to answer any questions if you may have them, or bring Thomas up for any technical questions, but we really appreciate your guys' efforts and time to proceed with this and your enthusiasm and confidence in us moving forward. we're excited about this initiative.
Thank you. This is a great project, and it's good for the city, very good for the city.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Any other comments from the council or questions?
Just looking forward to see how it progresses, both the financing and, the details.
So that was a quick way to get to 20.
Yeah. Take a little longer to get the 2 million.
Exactly.
Any questions for Thomas while he's here? Any technical questions from the report?
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
The next thing is a memo dated from Minnesota OSHA inspections at the wastewater treatment plant. Do you want to take that, Pat?
We were, excuse me. The OSHA had showed up and they did their inspection on 4 different areas. Fans without proper grounding, they did not find. Extension cords were being used, but we've since bought the fans with a long enough cord that we don't have to use the extension cords. Improper storage of our chemicals, there was nothing improper about it. And then they raised guardrails was missing, that we had no missing guardrails anywhere in the plant. And then we found a couple things with the, what do I want to say, I don't know, drawing a blank, for the,
Okay.
our classes and that, because we didn't have chemical. The safety, the safety stuff. So I strongly urge that we go with MMUA sometime down the road or as soon as possible, because then they make sure we're covered for every time OSHA comes in. But since we have this, we're gonna invite OSHA in here in the next few months. They'll come in for free and go through the whole building, no fines, no nothing. They just tell us what we have to fix. So we're gonna have them come in on a yearly basis. The county does it at our facility right now. We're just gonna have them come into the wastewater and go through everything.
Mock inspection.
Yeah, it's a mock inspection and it's actually OSHA that does it, so.
Okay.
Pat, I didn't hear you mention the failure of us to establish and administer a joint labor management safety committee.
Yeah, since I've been here, we haven't had a safety committee at all. I think it went out during COVID or something like that, Mike, wasn't it?
I'm not sure, but all of you have read the memo in there, and one of the things that, I was asked to follow up on is, if you remember back in July, we had asked to consider MMUA to get reestablished with that program, and we didn't do that. So I did reach out to Mike Willetts, if you remember back in July, I think it was, he came and provided us a presentation.
MMUA guy, right?
Yeah, so it took a while to get a hold of him. We didn't get the notice until after the holiday to even respond to it. That's why the memo was September 6th. So we responded immediately with the results of their inspection. And just for the record, the total fines are $450. If you read the notice, they go up substantially from there if we ignore this. So I did reach out to MMUA. He did get back to me this afternoon. And when OSHA comes in and does a no notice inspection, that means somebody complained about something or somebody noticed something, so they follow. So OSHA's process is they follow up immediately. And then they meet with the staff involved. In this case, it was Patrick and Shar, and had a conversation. So the fines they gave us are, okay, guys, you got to fix this, but we're going to come back at some point, and they'll go up from there. So in talking with Mike Willetts, MMUA can help us with this process, and their fees run approximately $2,000 a day if we're not under contract with them. To get us through the rest of this year, to make sure all of our training is compliant, the record keeping, assist us with the mock audits, and to represent us when OSHA does show up, because they will show up. He's estimating it'd be around just under $5,000 to help us through the rest of 2023. Now remember, in the budget, we put their fees in there as a budget item for next year. So we're asking council to implement this year and make the funds available to do that.
Can we just sign up?
Okay, so we had asked for information for the current training on MMUA after he gave the presentation. And then I expected it to be on the agenda the next month, and I guess I asked for it to be on the agenda this month too. So I'm assuming that we can discuss that with the OSHA inspection. And if we go with the annual and the 2 days, is it 2 days per month presentation, the fee, will it start immediately, or do we have to pay the $5,000 in addition to if we went with them next year? Can we start now, and the anniversary would be next October?
No, they're moving to a calendar year, so their contracts coincide with our budgeting cycles. And what they're willing to do is they're willing to help us out to get through this year for up to $5,000, and then go with the fee that you have in your budget packet for the $14,219 for 2024.
Mike, what did we do before? I mean, did we have a safety committee in place?
We had a similar committee when we had the phone company, and we did training with MMUA. And then for cities, we tried to do the common training, that everybody needs, and then we broke off and did the specialized training, because we had a lot of installers with the phone company, things like that. Police does their own for the most part, and so does fire. Chip takes care of that. And so the people that got left out of the loop were those that weren't police or fire with the phone company. So we went with a company called Target Solutions, which was an online module. Shar can speak more to that. They do a lot of things, but they don't do everything. And so what we really need to be, because we have more than 25 employees, we should have a safety committee. We didn't think we needed one because we didn't have 25 people that it applied to, but we weren't counting everybody, and that's described in the memo Shar and I and Patrick wrote to you on how that works. We need to include police, fire, council, temporary, seasonal, and election judges in the total.
So I wish that, I don't know if the rest of the council has the presentation packet from MMUA and the costs associated with contracting with them.
It was described in the budget, and you're talking about 2024. Yeah. I just got this information from Mike Willits via phone call this afternoon.
So they won't start now? If we said we were going to contract with you?
They will start now, and they will provide us a contract and work us in their schedule and get us back on track so we can move forward.
So it would be a separate contract. That Target Solutions, I don't think you've even started training this year, have you? Have you started training? There was only one on the 2023, one employee. No, maybe there was two, but they had only done maybe 2 sessions out of all the ones that are required. So I think ditch Target Solutions. They're not doing anything for us. They're not telling you, they don't tell you that your employees aren't going online and you're not checking the training. It's September, and we haven't any training except for 2 hours from one employee and 1 hour from another employee.
And that's exactly why we brought this to your attention back in June.
But have we paid this Target Solutions? I think he was here in July, wasn't he? MMUA. And then we asked for some information on current training where we were at. And then I expected it to be on the next agenda. And it's still not on the agenda, but I think we should act on it.
Do you have the training information you need?
I do, but I don't know if the rest of the council got
It was
it.
provided to the entire council, correct, Shar?
What was the presentation?
The training, no, the training, the 2022 and 2023.
In an email, we got it. I believe it was in an email form. when we had the list of everybody.
Yes, then I asked for 2023 listing too. And did you get that, where there was only one employee that did 3 trainings and another employee that did 1?
I didn't see it. Did you see that, Aaron?
No. But I believe that it's in there. I don't doubt it, okay? The thing of it is, right now, though, I would like to move forward and not dwell on the past. What do we do to correct the problem and to move forward? That's what I want.
I would like to see us end it with Target Solutions and the contract, if we have a contract with them, because they're not,
You're saying we're not getting our money's worth?
no, we're not.
Okay.
We're not getting anything.
And that's who you're talking about going with, correct?
With MMUA.
And it,
That's not Target Solutions.
No, it is not.
So it's a different company.
Right.
yeah, well, MMUA will do the safety training and make sure you're in compliance and where you're at in training, and they'll do mock inspections. I don't have a problem with going with them. We don't have a contract in front of us now for this,
For the next
for
few
September,
months.
October,
They
November.
quoted us verbally this afternoon on the phone. I said I'd bring it to the council tonight. And our immediate concern is September 25th, is to get the 2 citations corrected and abated, and then move forward with the MMUA.
So you're
So do
saying
we-
it's $5,000 for the rest of the year?
About $5,000 for the rest of the year is what he quoted me.
Mike, isn't it ultimately up to the individual employees to complete the training that's required?
It's up to the governing organization to provide them and tell them what training they're supposed to take,
Isn't that him?
so they're in compliance. Each individual doesn't determine what training they need. OSHA determines that based on their position, the types of training they're required to have.
But aren't you provided a list of, online classes or trainings that you're supposed to do?
And that's where we fell down with Target Solutions.
They weren't giving you the
I'd say,
information you
so Target
needed?
wasn't giving us the information on what we needed to do? Or we weren't
We-
directing staff to do training?
We had to be responsible, the city administrator should be responsible to make sure that everybody's doing their training. I would assume. Someone had to be in charge of it.
That's an incorrect assumption.
Okay.
But the point is, we need to get back on track.
So who was in charge of making sure the employees did their training?
I was.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm just
we need to
confused
have that
because,
done.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
confused.
Okay, so Aaron always wants a contract in front of him. Can we take a verbal quote on MMUA for $5,000 to proceed with completing our training for 2023? Or do you want a table action, for getting this training done?
Obviously, it hasn't worked in the past. The employees didn't take the initiative they should have themselves. But
Can I
let's-
just say one thing? The training for Target Solutions, the deadline to get it done this year is December 31st.
Okay.
So no one's behind right now.
But no one's done anything.
But
But
that was
then
how
how
many
could-
weeks ago that you got that report? If I gave you a report today, it would look a lot different than the one you got a few weeks ago.
Okay, all right. So back to, do you want a contract with MMUA by a verbal quote for the balance of the year and terminate the contract with Target Solutions?
Well, okay, never mind.
can I just ask a question? I mean, what guarantee do we have that if we go through OSHA, or MMUA, whatever it is, that the work will be completed? I mean, that's what Target was supposed to be providing, was what training needed to be done, but it wasn't done.
Sandy,
Sandy, they'll
Target,
come in.
Target Solutions is just an online company. There's no,
Okay.
one-on-one person. There's no one that comes here to our facility and actually talks to us. It's just an online program. That's all it is.
If I could say something.
There's no one to talk to.
MMUA will come in and train.
These videos are a waste of time. We get nothing out of them. There have been consequences for not getting these done. We've sent out warnings to staff before for not completing them. In the past, we've had like a month to 2 months. They don't get it done. You're sitting in your computer the next day finishing your training. So we're not doing them. We have till the end of the year. I'm not going to do it right now when it's my busy season. I'm not going to do it. So I get emotional when the council is attacking staff for not getting something done, and we're.
No one's attacking the staff.
No, I'm
They're
not-
saying that Target Solutions is not doing their job by,
We just went with the wrong
Yeah.
program. We just went with the wrong program.
So then would you agree as a council to move forward with the verbal quote from MMUA? and get
that's
us
what I'm
back on
trying to
track?
get them.
Okay.
Would that be acceptable?
Then let's spend the $5,000 this year and move forward with them.
I'll make a motion that we contract with MMUA for the balance of the year.
I'll second that. We have to get it done.
Can I just ask one more question? I'm sorry, it's hard not being there, but why are we being fined if we have till December 31st for all of the,
The fines are
Of course.
two separate things. There was a reported complaint to the sewer plant. Has nothing to do with any training at all.
no, the $300
However,
violation? That was because you didn't have a joint labor management safety committee?
so what happened was there was a complaint filed with Minnesota OSHA, MINOSHA. And those 4 items are listed in the memo we wrote on item E3. Fans without
Right.
proper grounding, so forth. One of the things
Right.
they do as a follow-up on that is they look at where's your safety committee and they check all your training records. Now, we had all the training records from MMUA, and I wasn't there that afternoon. Patrick and Char were, and they met with the inspector and explained to them our system, what we're doing, and so forth. If you look at the notice that was provided to you, we got fined, yes, but the fines were reduced by credits for, depending on the employer's good faith, size of business, previous violations and history. If we ignore them, we'll spend more in fines than we will on the training from MMUA.
I don't think the plan is to ignore them at all.
No.
We're not ignoring
But they will help us get through that process, and when OSHA shows up again, which they will, they'll be there to help us through those issues.
Okay,
Yeah, there was a second.
But if we move on with this new company, we can resolve the issue and we can satisfy OSHA by September 25th.
Correct.
Right,
Okay. That's my goal.
Yep.
right.
Roll call.
That we.
That we contract with MMUA for the balance of the year.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
yes,
Motion carries.
Do we want to approve the contract for next year?
What was the price
At the
again?
it was tier 2, 2 days a month, $15,399 for the year.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch all of that.
The contract for 2024 with MMUA Safety Program, Tier 2, is 2 days per month, $15,399.
I think if you look one column left, it was 14,219.
Am I in?
I was gonna say,
Well,
which program?
So 14,219.
I'm sorry.
It's approximately $15,000.
Is it, are we going to 2 days a month? Is that what we want?
I was gonna say, what, is that 2 days adequate?
The safety committee I sat on, we met once a month,
Once a month you want?
just
Okay.
once a month.
Okay.
And
it's
we
in-
went over all accidents, any injuries. We went over all that stuff within the city.
So it's 14,219, 1 day a month.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Jackson?
Aye.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, where are we? International Association of Fire Chiefs Fire Department Exchange Program. Must be Chip.
What is that?
I can answer any questions on the Vector Solutions if you had any more. No, we're good? All right. It wasn't explained very well, but anyway. You got that up there, TJ? So I'm just going to give you a little back history on, we've been working with the International Association of Fire Chiefs for about a year now. Back in September of 2022, the Cross Lake Fire Department was chosen to be a part of the International Association of Fire Chiefs Wildland Mentorship Program. This group came to Cross the Lake in late November of last year, and we got the project started. During their visit, they gave us an overview of the IAFC wildland programs. They outlined some of the programs that might be beneficial to Cross Lake and our community. We met every month. We went out to the Wildland Urban Interface Conference in March. The IAFC sponsored us, so they paid for our trip out there. Through our meetings and mentorship, we found that the Crow Wing County did not have a community wildfire protection plan, something the emergency manager would work on, but they have not put one in place yet for Crow Wing County, and that's what I've been working on lately, and Mike's been involved with that. So in April of 2023, we applied for an IAFC Community Wildfire Protection Plan grant. The fire program staff and the WUI subject matter experts selected 6 fire departments in the nation to work on updating and developing their community wildfire protection plan. We, in Cross Lake, we applied as Cross Lake and the County of Crow Wing. We were awarded this grant, so we were one of 6 fire departments in the country. We received $6,000 in funding to coordinate the local Community Wildfire Protection Plan Community Day, and we also work with these experts on creating this Community Wildfire Protection Plan. We had 1 meeting so far, and we're continuing moving forward. It has to be done next July. And that carries to the next part. In June of 2023, I applied for the IAFC Fire Department Exchange Program. This exchange program is an in-person exchange platform for fire departments facing wildland urban interface challenges. The core focus is to encourage exchanges among departments to broaden their knowledge base, consider alternative measures, create new solutions, and improve overall policies and procedures within their wildfire programs. This exchange covers key strategies such as mitigation, suppression, response, partnership, outreach, and education. So we went through that interview process, and we were selected to be one of 6 departments to participate in the exchange in October in Lake Tahoe. So that's what I've been doing. Mike's been part of our meetings with the Community Wildfire Protection Plan, with a lot of our collaborative partnerships that we're creating. You're going to learn a lot more about that in the next 8 months, but I just wanted to show this real short video on what the Fire Exchange is, FDX program. It's not a vacation for me. I'm going out there to work, so just want you all to see this. Yes, wildfire can happen here.
We have an unbelievable amount of fuel on our landscape across the United States, really. We've moved many people into what we call the Wildland Urban Interface, or the WUI.
Wildfire has really been impacting properties, impacting neighborhoods, communities. We're losing way more homes than we did 20 years ago.
Each year we're seeing more and more structures lost, unfortunately, loss of life in the community as well. There's a call to action coming, from all sides. And programs like the Fire Department Exchange really allow local fire departments to get together and exchange and share ideas at what they can do within their own communities to address that local risk.
We don't see a big change in what's happening as far as structure fires, but we see wildland fires getting larger, more frequent, more destructive.
We're in year 2 of a drought, so this is a situation that's very critical for us.
We're all facing the same struggles, and we're all challenged with similar things.
So Fire Department Exchange is a peer-to-peer learning environment where 5 to 7 departments from around the nation get together and really share challenges and successes.
Bring together fire departments to interface with each other, to exchange ideas
on what's working, what's those best practices, what's not working, so that fire departments don't have to reinvent the wheel and are also aware of other things that are happening, new ideas, new funding streams.
Help others learn from your mistakes and the things that have gone well and help them kind of move forward.
We all have the same struggles, big and small struggles, political struggles, boundary struggles, budgetary struggles. Everybody's in the same boat when it comes to that type of stuff, so.
I'm surprised how much just talking to other fire groups like we're here doing helps us understand why we're going through what we're going through.
So the value in Fire Department Exchange and what makes it different than maybe say a larger workshop or big fire department conference is these are small, intimate gatherings where fire departments can talk candidly with each other.
The week we spend here at the FDX exchanging ideas will have an immediate impact, but then it'll also impact the citizens of Carson for the next 10 to 20 years.
Well, I think that the network I've created here and the education I'm getting here and how to implement this is going to help me get through those and help our department figure out ways to navigate those tough issues that we're going to have to deal with. It could be community outreach, it could be funding.
I am so excited to sit down with our council as soon as I get back. I'm really anxious to tell them some of the things we ought to consider.
I don't think there's any community in the United States that's immune from a wildland fire event. So being a part of the FDX, I think, would really help a lot of communities just be prepared for the inevitable wildland fire problem that's going to impact a community at some point.
So if you have any questions, basically, we're working on a good wildfire protection plan in our county, and this is going to help benefit us down the road with creating mitigation planning, evacuation routes, just having a plan, because we don't, with all the roads that are dead-end streets, and people say it'll never happen here, well, look what happened in Hawaii. So you look at other things. Minnesota has one of the deadliest fires in the nation up in Hinckley in Moose Lake. So when you look at trends, it's usually about a 125-year trend when it comes back to burn again, and we're right in that line. So they all came out from all over the country. We had them out here about a month ago, was it? And we did a tour of the county, and they're shocked that we have houses so close to the woods and we don't have mitigation plans. So this is going to be a good learning experience. I'm bringing Tim Holmes, the fire chief in Brainerd, with me, because we're doing this community wildfire protection plan as a county. So he's going out in the exchange program with me, so it'll be good for us. So just want to let you know what we were doing.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chip. I guess it's the city administrator's turn for reports.
All right, thank you. If you remember back in August, I had mentioned we'd been working on updating our networks. We had moved from a Barracuda backup environment to a Datto environment with the help of what used to be CTCAT, which changed their name to Extona. And I also mentioned that we'll need to be doing something different in the very near future with our how we use email, how we use our software, where it originates from, and just how we use that computer environment along with some enhanced network security. So Kelvin Daniels is here tonight to talk to us about that, and he has with him some cost information and some war stories, if you will, on things that have actually happened, that are happening. And he's here to answer your questions and help us get ready for what we need to start implementing. The good news is we've been planning for this for a number of years, whether it's a server upgrade or new desktops or laptops or whatever. So we've got the available funds to do what we're trying to accomplish to secure our system and our data and how we communicate. So go ahead, Calvin.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get this hooked up. I figured you guys got an IT person to do this?
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it, Mike. So as Mike said, my name is Kelvin Daniels. I'm the Director of Sales and Channels for Xtona. We are not an outside company, CTCIT. We just basically changed the name. You get into Arvig's territory and some other guys, they see CTC, they don't want to play nice. And then we actually operate outside of the region as well, so, and they don't know who CTC is. So we just did a name change, a little remarketing last year, but at the end of the day, we're all the same ownership. Everything else is all the same as that. We're still based right here in the region, and we actually just opened up some new office space. So that's also a good thing too. So I don't need to go through my whole entire bio. The stuff that's the most important is really at the end of that. I spent 2.5 years as a sector chief of IT for the state of North Dakota with an organization called InfraGuard, which is a joint task force with the FBI, the DHS, and the private sector, dealing in cyber terrorism, active shooter, and threats against the Big 14, which are the critical infrastructure industries in the United States. So that includes power, water, all of that, city and government, you name it. So those agricultural, electrical. So we really focus heavily in that area. And on top of that, also with my background with law enforcement and DOD compliance. So I've been doing this a long time. I was brought in with the company to start evaluating and looking at how we're delivering some of this, and it's been good. Mike's been a great asset to be able to go through the things with, so we could break it down and make it understandable. So the things I want to focus on real quickly, first of all, is the to get this to open up, is the CJIS compliance and upgoing changes. So the police department right now currently is not on what's called GCC. GCC is the government community cloud. All police departments that are communicating with CJIS, and that falls underneath FIPS 140-2 compliance rating that has to be done through the BCA. That is how they need to be doing their email, okay? Right now you guys are using regular standard Office 365. That standard Office 365 stores data and is communicating outside the borders of the United States. GCC keeps it within the borders of the United States. It is very important to make sure that that is very understandable. That is not something that you guys might want to do or might not want to do. You're required by compliance to do that part of it. So this isn't the first city that we're doing this with. We work with a lot of cities in the region, a lot of chiefs in the region. You guys are actually the last one that hasn't done this yet, so everybody else has made the move. The problem with doing that is the big issue that we run into, which is if the PD is the only one that does it, then the city then loses communication by sharing calendars and all the ability to be able to do the integration between two platforms, because standard 365 and GCC do not commingle. They are completely separated and have to be because of encryption and compliance. So it is not required today. I just want to be clear. I'm not a snake oil guy. It is not required today that the city does GCC. Okay, I would guess it's going to come out in 2025. Somewhere that I think you'll get announced in 24 possibly, and will become enforceable in 25. But if you don't do it, you will lose all communication with the police department for shared calendars and a lot of the other internal communications you would have in between the departments. So that comes up to one part of it. The other part of this is going to be some cyber compliancy. I know everybody really loves talking about that, and they're like, one more thing of antivirus, one more thing of this, use a bunch of acronyms and make us confused. I get it. But here's the real situation, okay? We are talking about Augusta, Georgia, Wellington, Florida, Fort Worth, Odessa, Hayward, Oakland, and Tucson. All those city and governments were hacked within the last 12 months. And I know the first response is those are all big cities. That's fantastic. It's not going to happen here. Well, let's just go ahead and jump straight down to Minneapolis Public Schools that was just hit.
of May of this year. From right there, let's go right down to the Minnesota Department of Education. They just had 95,000 students' information compromised. 95,000. Then right after that, the University of Minnesota was just hacked last month. So now you're saying, you can kind of go through and say, well, that's still just the big cities. I want to pull this up and I can show you 10,000 different pages of this, but these guys are Nebraska, rural community. Dave Russell is really well known in our industry. He really knows his stuff. Rural markets are the low-hanging fruit. They're the ones that have the least amount of money invested into cybersecurity and infrastructure, and they just went through. It's been rampant through Texas. It's been rampant through Nebraska. They've been hitting Iowa, and our parent company that has been the ownership that's been involved in this community for a long time. Our parent company works with ISPs like CTC all over the country, and they're all rural market ISPs. So we have information in multiple states where this is going on. So this is a real serious situation that we're looking at. So when it comes down to a few of the other things that we need to look at is the states are being targeted. Like it's almost like they're just going through a Rolodex and saying, we're going to go after ours this time. So watch out, Rhode Island. You know, I mean, it's like these guys have, it's like they're playing a game. And the problem is that the good guys, we can't keep up with the bad guys. So no matter what we put in place, it is not a guarantee that you will be 100% protected. Important to know that. What we're trying to do is make you as hard of a target as possible. We want to put enough stuff in the way where when they start snooping and sniffing, which they will, that they go, hard pass. We don't want to mess with this one. There's too much work here. We'll go after the next one up the road. And that's really what we want to do. We want to make you as hard of a target as possible. So some of the things that we would add in that you guys don't have in place today is MFA, which is multi-factor authentication. It's going to require a two-factor authentication source for access to email. We'll send out, you'll have to reset it once in a while. It's very simple. I think doctors call it minimally invasive. So we're going to make that as minimally invasive as possible. But at the end of the day, there's some big benefits to this. Your banks are using it. FDIC made that a requirement a long time ago. Anybody who is in city and government should be on MFA as of today. And a lot of them have declined in the past, and now they're paying the price for that. Spam filtering, we have an advanced spam filter that is going to start rooting out some of the underlying, a lot of the underlying, I guess, layers that they try to hide within some of the encrypted data within files. So we have an additional spam filter, and then we have DNS, which is basically going to stop the replication of your computers to the outside source. So it'll basically hide the computer from outside source hacks. Those are some other pieces there. Plus, we do want to start looking at some ongoing training to be added as well. Just some things that are informational so that you're going to be able to really start getting a understanding as an entire organization of all the parts and pieces, the entire umbrella that you guys see over or oversee. We're going to start looking at how we can educate people a little bit better. One of the other parts of this is also when we get into the pricing here, one of the other pieces of it is we have a product called Iron Scales. We call it Mail Secure. But basically what that does is that if something looks fishy, then you're able to literally hit a button that says report phishing. It'll take that, it'll quarantine it, and we call it detonating it, and it'll go through and it'll basically see if it has anything in it. If it does, it automatically will go out and search the entire domain, every single email address, every single inbox that's associated to you, and automatically neutralize the threat. Okay? The other thing that allows us to do is it allows us to basically do practice attacks on you. So we will be able to literally practice attack all of the employees and everybody involved. And if they click on it, we can give you their names so we can bring them up here and properly admonish them in front of everyone. Nothing teaches people better than public humiliation. But no, there is training that goes along with it. So they do have to complete training regimens if they do click on the attacks, and we do actually provide you reporting on how many did fail. Just so you know, the last people that failed were actually the council members, not the city employees that are the last when I tested. So you guys have to be aware when we launch that. I'm being dead serious. A mayor and a city administrator, or a mayor and one of the other people actually.
We're blamed for everything.
Yeah, so it was good. It was good. But so basically, that's the reasoning behind what we're doing. Some of it, again, is not a suggestion. It is a requirement for the PD. Okay. And then another thing. We are actually the LASSO, which is the local agency security officer for a couple of police departments that we oversee through the city. And so being a LASSO for those, we actually interact directly with the state, and we actually are the preferred law enforcement vendor for the state for the things that we're doing. So every one of our people are fingerprinted and licensed as we come into these situations. So there is nobody who has a staff that is as experienced as us in the state that's doing what we're doing. We are number one, hands down. And one of the things when Melissa Reeder sent everything out with the League of Cities, we are the second one listed, and the other, so the reason why is because the other one is listed in Minneapolis. So when it comes to rural market, we're number one. So a couple of the things that we need to look at is the GCC. We'll blow this up. Sorry about that. So GCC for the police department, for all of the parts that have to go through for that, and the rest of the city, we need 35 licenses of Exchange Online Plan 1. That's the cheap license. That's for just mailboxes, okay? You have 18 people that need a full version license that are associated to the account. Basically, it's $23 each. For those ones, it's published price. Nobody gets to mark it up. It is what it is. The $4 license is just a mailbox license that goes through for what you guys need.
That would be everyone in the city?
That would be everyone. That would be all your licenses at one time.
Kelvin, can you talk about what we're doing now versus what we should be doing? Because right now, everyone either has a Gmail account that they use themselves, like for commission members, and what we really should be is a .gov type of, and I can explain what .gov really is.
Yeah, so one of the things that we would be doing through this, and this is not a cheap process, okay? We have to actually register you guys with the national database for the government cloud. And on top of that, we have to get everything authenticated. Right now, the way you guys are operating across the board, you guys are like this close to being blacklisted, okay? The way that you guys' emails are set up currently today. You're this close. Blacklisting means that once you get put in the blacklist, it hits all the spam filtering systems, and they start basically denying every email that you send out through any type of source, whether it's Gmail, Hotmail, Outlook, does not matter how you send it. Because of how you guys are set up today, and because it's kind of been like Band-Aid it, it's at the point now where because the police department has to change, you guys, if you don't change the rest of it over, it's basically diminishing return, like instantly the second that you guys would do that.
Have you heard this before, that you have to switch? Okay.
So Kelvin, just for an example, we tested this, and Kelvin sent me an email, and it was instant. And I sent him an email, and I said, okay, just hit send, and it took, what, 11 and a half minutes?
It took almost 12 minutes for me to get an email through from your guys' email domain right now.
Because it wouldn't make it through your filter.
Yeah, because we actually have the proper security pieces in place. So it's really not a great deal. So when we start looking at it, let's look at the end of your email. So you guys are crosslake.net. So .net is not a recognized or legitimized government agency email. So it is not recognized by the League of Cities, and that comes directly from Melissa Reeder. It is not recognized nationally through any of the police departments or associations. It is not recognized in any way, shape, or form. Right now, you guys, like I said, you're this close. You guys are literally this close to getting blacklisted. And once that happens, you won't be able to transfer any of those emails the way that it's going on today, because they're all going to be compromised in a blacklisting. So the way that you're set up today is not sustainable for you as a city.
Question for you then. Right now, and I'm not sure how the other council members have theirs set up, but mine comes into my personal computer. It has its own mailbox, but it's still crosslake.net. Just Council Herzog crosslake.net. So that means my entire computer would be vulnerable.
The way that this would be set up, when we would put the security, proper security in place, your computers are also going to be getting the proper antivirus and the proper security. Because anything that you're accessing, the number one access for cyber intrusion today is actually email. It's the easiest way they're getting in. Because firewalls being in place and a lot of the other stuff, it's harder for them to hit it. They're trying to hit you guys through email attacks. So there's certain things that we would put in place that are going to go on your emails that would be able to help neutralize specifically you guys. The rest of all the city computers that are on the city network and everything else, that stuff's going to be super easy as far as the overall scenario goes.
So how would that affect my home email? It's like I have an email address at home, it's crosslake.net, but would I lose that email address as well?
So your home personal one that you have, that's completely up to you. You can do whatever you want with it. I would not be using a crosslake.net for any type of official communication, because it's literally not recognized. So for example, NISWA is niswa.mn.us. Okay, so you can go .mn.us or you can do .mn.gov. There's two different scenarios and listings. We generally will fill those through based on what the police department's requirements are. And when we make the full transition over, we connect everybody together.
Mike, does that mean we're done with Crosslake Communications then, or Tremolo Communications, and we come up with our own server? Is that what this is?
From the email perspective, you'd be going to Office 365 through the GCC, okay? So what that is, so think about it like this. If you have a server, okay?
Yeah.
Right now, that server for your email is at Tremolo. Yeah. Instead of it being there, it's hosted within a secure DoD regulated data center, Department of Defense regulated data center within the United States that will host your email communications and will be able to put all the proper security protocols in place. So you would no longer have that. Plus, most ISPs like Tremolo, CTC is even getting away from it. I mean, most of them are dropping all of their email stuff. And because it's too much of a liability, because to put the proper security in place would be, for them it's already a loss leader. It was like, join up, sign up, here's an email. And everybody's like, yay, now we can send you stuff. And now they're like, oh crap, we got to protect everyone. And that's where the problem lies. So you would be going to a full government cloud scenario.
So you're not hosting it? Your
No.
company's not hosting it? And you're looking at initially to set it up $8,125 and then monthly $1,500?
I have to get back up to it. No, monthly would be $554 or $554 a month. The labor on here is $81.25. That is worst case scenario. Okay, we have the 65 hours put in place for that. If we finish it in 40 hours, you will only pay 40 hours. But if it takes us 85 hours, you will only pay 65 hours, okay? We have this down to a science. If we run into snags, we need to protect ourselves a little bit. But if everything goes smooth, we usually come in 10 to 15% under on hours versus what we have bid.
Well, you have one here,
That's the other one I'll go over
the
next.
$991 a month, is that
That's,
in conjunction with the other one?
yeah.
Or is that separate?
I gotta do that one next.
Okay,
This is the first piece.
okay, I'm just looking at the dollars.
I got it. Yeah, so this is the GCC piece. So does anybody have any questions on that one before I go over to the next one? Okay. So on the next one, what we have here, this is, I'm gonna blow this one up here. So with everything that we're doing for this, right now, we've been providing your guys' support. Your support agreement has not increased with us in a very, very, very long time, even though you've added a lot more devices than when we originally started. So the desk portion is our monthly service that we do. Right now at 55 or 53 devices, you guys would normally be at about $2,500 a month if you were a net new customer. But because you're not a net new customer, you're an existing customer, we've only done a very minimal increase based on what your previous, basically what the previous dollars would have been. So that piece of it is $350. Spam Secure is putting the spam licensing in place for all of the accounts, okay? So that's all the spam filtering that would go on all of the accounts and all of the additional security. MFA is the multi-factor authentication that I previously discussed. And then DNS, or Mail Secure, is the phishing and training service that goes on. And then DNS is the outward facing that protects the computer from outside intrusion.
What are all 53 accounts, Mike, when we don't even have 53 city employees?
Those are email accounts.
Okay. We still have 53 email accounts?
Yep.
Four?
Well, we have a number of commissions that conduct city business that we have to cover also. And those will change as terms expire.
Gotcha.
And these go on a monthly basis as far as all of the additional pieces. So spam, MFA, mail, all of those. If you lose 5 of those, 5 of them drop off, okay? So this is, it's as you eat it, okay? So it's completely, if you only use 46, then you'll only get billed for 46. And it's all detailed out across the board. This is where you are today. We're hoping that when we do the actual onboarding, that there's some of those that we can try to get rid of to try to save you some money. But where you are today, it's 53.
So what is the amount of our contract with you now, currently?
$650.
We have it broken out. Parks and Rec has a separate contract. Police has one, and so does the city.
What's the dollar amount, total dollar amount?
I think it's like $21.55.
Yeah. Yep. 21, yeah.
So is this on top of
everything.
it?
Yes,
On top of the $21.55?
absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So we're adding 1,500 to the 2155?
Per month?
Yes.
Huh?
Who asked that?
Sandy.
Oh,
Sandy.
I was like.
There she is.
Hi.
All omniscient.
Yeah.
So part of this is the real simple piece. The PD needs to have all of these security pieces put in place for them on top of their GCC. So that has to be done.
When
Like
does
there's-
that due?
Like
Jake?
yesterday, literally. All the whole new changeover comes in next month in October. And just to give you a heads up, next year, they're gonna make SOC a requirement, which is Security Operations Center, for all police departments through CJIS. So that's gonna be an additional cost coming up. That's gonna go live in 2024.
This is nuts.
It has to be in before October of '24.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Yeah, Kelvin, I'm just, sorry, I thought the GCC component would protect us from, spam and et cetera. So why do we need the extra, the external price, the extra $991 of coverage?
That's a great question, because I said so. No, I'm just kidding. So basically you have factory settings and then you have advanced settings, okay? So standard GCC gives you a level of encryption that comes as part of the data center, and it gives you the hosting only within the United States. So apparently the price of hosting email only within the United States is significantly more than in India and a lot of other places, which is why the $12.50 or $11.83 on the discount that I think you guys are on, that you get through the League of Cities, that same exact license on GCC is $23. The thing that's different is that the email box only, that's $4, is still only $4 on GCC. It's just the complete licenses that have the $12 increase basically per license, or $11.50 increase per license.
So you mentioned League of Minnesota Cities
Yes.
in reference to
Because
emails?
League of Minnesota Cities has, when you start going through and you're looking at all of the different, like Office 365, there's, some of the cities have a little bit of a discount on some of those like regular Office 365 products, but GCC isn't discounted. At least I haven't seen a discount for GCC yet.
I'm just wondering if we're adequately covered if we just do the third-party supplemental, the, monthly cost of $554 additional as opposed to all the extra add-ins.
So,
I mean, you're talking a little bit over my head, so I'm just trying to clarify that.
He's talking over my head, Sandy, as well.
So I promise you, I'm not an IT nerd. I'm a Western North Dakota farm kid. So, I mean, I'll break it down a little bit simpler as far as the rest of it goes. The spam filtering is a better version of spam filtering than GCC has, because GCC still uses the standard embedded Microsoft spam filter. If you went to the GCC 5 versus the GCC 3, it would be an additional, I think, 18 or somewhere between $18 and $22 per month, and they would have the advanced versions included. So the way that I have this put together actually saves you money versus going to the Series 5 for GCC. So the spam filter is basic. Now, here's the deal. You have a choice of whether you want to do the spam filter or not for the remaining of the email accounts. The PD, we should put it on the PD. That's straight up across the board. As far as the MFA goes, everybody needs that. Anybody who's going to be accessing any of those emails needs MFA. That's kind of a non-negotiable, because you guys are out of compliance by not having MFA today. The Mail Secure, that gives us the ability to do your intrusion testing for email, and gives you the ability to be able to do the remaining that we need to get. Basically, the PD has to have that. If you're doing it for them, you should be doing it for everyone. And then the DNS is for the computer intrusions. That's why it's only 29, because you only have 29 devices that could be intruded on. So if you want to drop the spam filtering for the remainder of the city and save you guys self, what is it, 8 addresses that we have for you guys? 8 or 9 email addresses for the PD? Ouch. 8?
I'm kind of thinking this is kind of a lot thrown at us right now. I'm thinking that maybe come back with a quote next month for the minimum, what we need, and so that we're in compliance, including the police department. Or are you going to do the police department right away?
Are you going to get fined if you don't? Is the police department or is the city going to get fined?
Yeah.
Go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
Your guys, if you don't have your compliance in place by next month, the BCA,
comes
and you get that second audit coming through with the stuff that was supposed to be put in place this year, it's not going to be good. I can just tell you that straight up right now. Like I said,
What does that mean? Can you be more specific? It's not going to be good.
I don't want to get into specifics on the matters of the BCA. I would just say that if it was my police department, I would not want to upset that organization. Yeah, go ahead.
Potentially lose any access we have to their systems, and then we can't operate.
And that would include shutting off your MDTs and your mobile data terminals and your squads, everything.
We would be more or less shut down.
Yeah.
You would basically cease to have a
that.
police department.
Welcome to Mayberry.
Okay. What does the city council want to do?
Well, if we have to do the police department by next month, let's just get that done first.
Yes, I agree with that.
So we're not caught with our pants down.
And then I think we need to analyze a little bit closer how far we need to go individually.
With the other stuff.
And I know we have certain staff that has to communicate with the police department, but we need to sort all that out if we can.
Right.
Does that make sense to you right now?
So, no, not on the GCC part. The rest of it, we can talk about it later, but if you have certain departments that still need to communicate, then you have to put everybody on it.
Yeah.
You can't
We're
piecemeal
going
it
to end up
together.
there. There's no doubt about that, but it's a matter of how quick we're in a position to spend the money. We do. Okay.
Is that 554, is that in addition to what we're already paying you? And
Yeah,
that's kind of.
so the 554 is for the GCC product only. That's what that is. So you guys would have to have that in place in order to be able to do it properly.
Right.
And that would cover the compliance for the police department.
Correct.
So,
And when do we have to have the other two in place?
So MFA, the entire city's out of compliance right now with the MFA not being in place. You guys should have had that as well, but that's one of those other things that's kind of been can's been kind of getting kicked down the road on that. We already have to put it in place for the PD. It should go in place for you guys at the same time. Because what we're basically looking at is if we have to do the work one time, it's one price. If we have to come back in and redo it an entire second time, it's basically going to be double the labor in order to be able to do it. Because once we get it going on one installation, it covers everything across the board.
So the 8125 is a one-time labor charge.
Correct.
Okay.
At the maximum.
Yeah, and then the 554 is a monthly charge.
That's
So
a
on an
monthly
annual
recurring
basis,
charge.
That's, and I'm rounding numbers now, okay? So that's about $6,700.
Correct.
And then you've got the 554, that's a monthly charge also?
The 554 is the only monthly charge on that.
yeah.
Okay.
This one
then-
right here.
and What is the 991 then?
Oh, I'll go back to that one. So what the PD needs to have is the three of the four security products that are there is
Okay.
what the PD is required to have for their compliance. So all of their computers, laptops, and email accounts have to have that. MFA should be citywide. That's something that has to be there. So if I take the spam filtering off for now, and even took the mail training off for now, and at least put MFA in place for you guys, and just put the remainder on the PD, then we're talking about just the PD's only accounts.
Right.
Are you adding that up, Aaron? Were you
No,
writing it down?
he lost me when I got to the 991 a month part. Because that, if I'm looking at that, that's a monthly cost if we did all of it.
Correct.
So that's coming in at about close to 10,000 a month, or 900 a month, about, what, 12,000 a year? So that's about another 12,000. So we're looking at 26, we're pushing 27,000. to put the whole thing in place, and then that becomes an annual cost.
Correct, sir.
Well, that stuff's gone up in price. hasn't
Holy
it?
buckets.
Kelvin,
Yes, ma'am.
if we just did the, the basic, the GCC for, citywide, and that's $554 a month, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And then we did the MFA, which sounds like that's, is that, so that'd be an additional $159 a month?
Correct.
And is that the one?
On top of what, Char, like 21 a month? No, what are we paying now, did you say? On top of 2155, Sandy, that we're already paying.
So it'd be an additional, like $700 a month.
Yeah, basically. Pretty close in the ballpark.
Okay.
So
Well, the 554 seems inevitable because the PD needs it, and if we can't communicate with the PD, it's kind of pointless.
Correct.
And so it seems like that's already something we need to do, and for an additional 159 to do the MFA, which sounds like we're going to have to be required to do that anyway. I think that's a place to start anyway.
Do you want to make a motion, Sandy?
Does anyone else have any more discussion?
I don't know the
Questions?
lingo, so go ahead.
Well, I mean,
Ma'am, can I jump in here real quick? So
Sure.
The PD needs to have all 4 of those security products, the ones that are there for their accounts, okay?
Right.
So we can put that on their accounts. So whatever, the pricing is really simple to figure out. It's like $4 per mailbox per month, and $3 per mailbox per month, and $3.50 per, it's real simple to figure out the math. So for the PDs, we'd have to put those in place. For everybody else, we can leave them off until we can have a further discussion. But right
Kelvin,
now,
could you come back with, a quote with those specifically what you just said?
yeah, I can do that on the other page of it for sure.
That would be really helpful.
Yeah, I can have that updated and sent over to Mike tomorrow.
That's,
But we need to do something for the PD now so that we don't.
Yeah, I'm all for that.
Do you want
Let's go right
to, do you
ahead.
want to make a motion, Aaron, on it?
I just don't know how to word it.
The dollars is where I'm getting in trouble with it.
Okay.
I want the PD connected to the fullest extent that they can be to avoid problems,
Okay.
okay? And that's 7 mailboxes,
Correct, 7.
because there's 7 people.
7 mailboxes, and then it would also be their laptops and desktops that would
Yes.
need the remaining security products.
And I have no idea how many that is. But to do those specifically, I would make a motion to do them, but I can't put a dollar figure to it, Marcia.
I don't think any of us can.
How many
But I'm saying they-
desktops and laptops?
They
do we have?
need
I
to
think
be
we have,
done.
what,
Let's get them
11?
done.
So, yeah.
And Mike, receive a cost from him. Notify us of what that cost is, will you?
Some desktops and use. Peddlers on the beach in Mexico. They say it's one price as soon as you put it on.
So we're looking at what, 14? Okay. I'll do the math for you right now.
Are you
Super easy.
including our administrative assistant?
4.50 plus $4 plus $3, $11.50 times 14 is $161 on top of the GCC proposal.
on top of the 554.
Yes, ma'am. That would put the police department fully in compliance.
And
then
we
the
would still be,
And then the
Sorry.
MFA portion would be 159. That would hit everybody. And the rest of it we can leave off.
so can I make a motion that we contract to have the police department set up with the GCC and all of the other,
Security.
the other
Security
components, the other components, and,
Mailboxes.
yeah.
And I'll second that motion, Sandy.
Okay. And the MFA secure for us, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yep.
And I realize it's going to cost us some extra to get the rest of the city on board. I understand that, but I think we're.
So the
I realize it's like taking a sip out of a fire hose. I know it is, but that's like when I started putting all the stuff like slowly, and now it's built up to the point where if we're gonna do the work one time, it doesn't make a lot of sense to come back and do it a second time. So to put it in place, it's gonna end up costing a lot more on the labor side of it for a one-time fee versus being able to launch it at one time.
But I think we're going to have to do that.
Yeah, but
Go ahead
that's,
with the vote.
I mean, literally, that'll be simple. We'll
So
work it out with you guys.
so the GCC for citywide, including the police department, and
Right.
then and the MFA citywide,
Yes, ma'am.
but then all the other components,
Me
just
only.
for the police department.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I feel like we could run the country.
that's my very clumsy motion.
Okay. Can you restate the motion before you do the roll call?
Okay. Me?
No, Shar.
Okay, okay. Did we have a second?
Aaron gave it to you.
Okay.
So you're going to approve the connection for the police department of approximately 14 laptops, desktops, squad computers, emails, at a cost of approximately $900
A month.
a month, on top of what we currently pay.
Roll call then.
Let's be done.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
send everything else over, and we'll get the rest of it broke down
And
ahead
if
of
it
time.
needs to be
for you
done.
guys in the next part. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Calvin.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Last time we did this, the state paid for everything. Everything,
Hopefully it doesn't bite us.
including special lines coming in.
All right, are we ready to talk about the preliminary 2023 tax levy collectible 2024? There's two documents in there. One's a copy of the preliminary tax levy as directed by the council that would yield a tax rate of 19.86%. The details of that and comparable to prior years are on the second page of that. Now, this is certifying the preliminary tax levy. You can go no higher than this, but you can always come down.
Great.
Now, with the IT, we'll adjust the budget in our next reiteration to show those updated costs. And as we get closer to final levy certification, we'll keep adjusting those numbers up or down, whichever the case may be. So the council's direction at our last budget meeting on August 30th, I believe it was August 30th, was to come back with a tax levy that would yield an estimated tax rate of 19.86%.
Perfect.
Okay, at the last budget meeting, we did increase the levy by the 262,000 at that tax rate of 19.86. And we actually did reduce some in the levy to a tune of, not the levy, but the budget, 200,000. So we're now at 462,000 more than what we budgeted that was in the budget. But anyway, can I ask for a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution regarding the levy and the tax rate.
I'll second that motion.
Is there discussion? Roll call.
Aaron,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Marcia,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, Char, do you want to take item F3?
Sure. This is just an updated data practices policy for the public. If you have any questions, I can answer them.
Council have any questions?
No.
No, I read it. Good.
Can I have a motion to approve the data practices policy for the public?
I'll make a motion that we approve the data practices for the public form document, whatever.
Second.
I second it.
Roll call.
Sandy,
Yes.
Marcia,
Yes.
Jackson.
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, item 4 is similar. It's approval of drug, alcohol, and cannabis testing and drug-free workplace act policy for non-commercial drivers. That's item 4 in your packet.
This looks like it comes pretty much right out of the Minnesota League of Cities.
That's correct.
I move that we approve it.
Second.
Discussion? I have something to, the MMUA has a drug policy. Would that be included in our contract?
No.
The drug and alcohol policy? Or
We can find out.
they administer it? I think you should check on that.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Roll call.
Jackson,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Marcia,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, item 5 is Crow Wing County Alert System Notice. That's for council information. What that is you can get emergency and community alerts by signing up for the Crow Wing County Emergency Alert Program. This provides a means for county, city, and township officials to notify you by phone, email, and text as selected by you. It's just information to
And that's the
encourage you
one
to
that goes off in the middle of the night typically.
It is called Everbridge, but it can be specific to just Cross Lake.
Okay.
And maybe TJ, you can put it on our Facebook page. They want residents to sign up for it.
Oh, okay.
It is on the county website. I don't know about ours. Yeah.
Yeah, this is for like severe weather, things like that, community events, road projects. Okay, so that's just for council information.
Okay.
Item 6, I got a call last week from the superintendent at Pequot Lake School, and I think everybody is aware there's a bond referendum for capital projects that the school district will be coming to the voters for in this November's election. This is information, but the superintendent did offer, if there are specific questions or the council would like superintendent to make a presentation to the full council and be available for questions, he'd be happy to do so at our next council meeting. So if you would like that to occur, let me know and I'll try to get that scheduled. Okay?
Perfect.
All right, we'll move on to item 7. This is a letter dated August 24th from the Crow Wing County Highway Department on future road projects for council information. This is for County Road 103 for the summer of 2026. So it's just an early heads up on what the county is planning to do in 2026. And I don't know if that coincides with the proposed trail project we heard of earlier, but that's for council information, so there's no action required on that. The last item is an advisory opinion 23-03 dated September 7th from the Minnesota Department of Administration regarding the open meeting law issues we've all been wrestling with. That's for information only. Unless there's specific questions, I'm not going to read it. Okay?
No questions.
I have a question, Mike.
Sure.
I mean, what happens now?
Probably nothing.
Okay. Thanks.
But I could be wrong. So unless the council has questions for me, that's my report. Thank you.
Okay, let's go on to planning and zoning. Update on the planning and zoning workshop. I believe, Aaron, you were going to give that, or is Pete? Pete, go ahead, Pete.
I can
Sorry.
speak on this, yeah, you bet. And Aaron, feel free to add anything if I miss anything. But in general, City Council last month had provided direction for us to go to a workshop with the Planning Commission to discuss the storage structures, accessory structures, pole barns type of things. In general, we're going to take another work session on it. We did make a little bit of headway. I've talked outreach to other area counties and cities and other zoning administrators on how they handle these situations. And we're looking at changing the use chart to a conditional use permit rather than getting into some of the recommendations on like changing the zoning districts, creating buffers that would make certain requirements. It's just a lot easier to just require a conditional use permit for it. And then as we move forward with the conditional use process, we'll probably boilerplate some standard conditions for these items and then look to make an ordinance change on that. So they're going to have one more work session and then we'll probably have a recommendation under that. And then just as a reminder too, no decisions can be made by the Planning Commission at their workshops. It's just for roundtable discussion. So if you got any questions, let me know.
You're going to do the work and we get the glory, right?
That's right, yeah.
Park and Rec. TJ, are you going to go through this whole thing? Or the items?
Yes, first item I have for you regarding HVAC systems. We talked about this in the last budget meeting. Our plan was to replace 2 in 2024. Sorry, there's a mess spot here. The community center has 2 remaining original HVAC units. We were going to replace 1 this year, 1 next year. I think we talked about it late last year in the budget process that we were just going to shift that second one up and replace 2 this year, and then we'd be all caught up. I did get 2 proposals. My recommendation is just to accept the cheapest proposal and get them done.
Can I have a motion on approving the heating and roofing proposal?
I make a motion, we approve the Thielen Heating and Roofing Incorporated proposal for $22,750. And it looks like there'll be a couple of small additions, one at $450 for filter cabinets, another one for 4 each of filters at $75 a piece. I move we approve that.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Roll call.
Yes.
Sorry.
Oh, I can't hear you suddenly.
Sandy.
Oh, yes.
Marcia.
Yes.
Jackson.
Yep.
Motion carries.
TJ, you were having a problem with high heat up there in the summer?
Yeah, that was in my last item there, my
Right.
Park and Rec update. I did get a quote for insulation, but I'm going to look at getting a second quote because it was a bit high. So more information to come on that one.
Thank you.
Item 2, landscape berm. I have $5,500 budgeted in this year's budget to renovate our berm in front of the parking lot. I did get 2 quotes, one from Landsberg's and one from Croy Management. Landsberg's was at $19,500 and Croy was at about $18,500. I about fell out of my chair. I reached out to Croy Management and I said, how can we bring that down to a reasonable number? And we kind of split apart the quote. My staff and I, just this past week, we removed all the mulch that we have been adding over the past 20 years. We removed the fabric, we removed the old dead woody bushes, and then we're going to edge the perimeter of the bed. So that approximately saved the city about $10,000 if we're looking at that Croy Management quote that's in the packet. So the plan would be, if this is approved, they would come in here yet this fall, and you can flip through the packet there. You'll see the berm there, what they're planning on doing in the proposal. I don't know the total number of plants, but it's a pretty substantial number. It's going to really change the curb appeal of our facility. And like I said, nothing's been really done to it in the last 20 years. And if you know anything about landscape berms, regardless if we're gonna do these plantings or not from Croy Management, we needed to do something and remove the old mulch and renovate it essentially.
At the community center. I know you're going to be upset with me when I say this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway. This all looks wonderful. But do
There
we
will
have a
be no
commitment?
weeds.
Do we have a commitment on weeding?
Yeah, and if you look at the proposal, they have a granular, it's called Snapshot. It's a pre-emergent and it's a commercial product. And a Snapshot promises 6 months, and I asked them, do you guys use this on a regular basis on other projects? They say yes, and they see about 5 months without weeds. So we will implement that in our
5 months of winter, right?
no, growing season.
I have to do this because that's just one of my pet
I know,
peeves
it-
is the weeds in that berm.
But that's
I'm
why
sorry.
that's why you're supposed to renovate a berm over a certain period of time, because that soil does build up and those weed seeds get just rampant. So just doing what we did this past week will tremendously help, but that application will keep the weeds down.
Okay,
I promise you.
I had to say that. Now can I have a motion for the approve
Approve it on the basis of the 10,000?
of the 8,513.25?
So just to clarify, we have 5,500 in the budget, and to cover the remaining costs for the LaCroix quote, we just need to cover the
Assigned balance.
3,013.25 out of assigned fund balance.
Out of the assigned
Which we
balance.
have money in there, yep.
Mhm. Can I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second.
Roll call.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
Motion carries.
And thanks, TJ, for all your hard work.
Thank you. This is really gonna change the curb appeal of the facility, so we're pretty excited about that.
I think so too.
Good.
Item 3, we have a memo from, the subject is right-of-way task force. There's a lot of words in there. I presume you all read it already. I'll just cover kind of the findings of the meeting. The recommendations that came out of that meeting were to send the same letter that was sent out in 2016 to adjacent property owners regarding personal property on public right-of-ways. Essentially, it was a letter stating, get your junk off the right-of-ways. If you don't, there's going to be a fine associated with that. We found that to be a big issue when we did all these site visits. There are a lot of personal property on these right-of-ways, so that is our number one goal. If you guys approve it, we'll work with Brad to get another letter sent out, because we realized how many different properties switched over hands in the past since 2016, so those people don't even know about it. So we're just going to get on top of it, hopefully get the letter sent out. And then the second recommendation would be to mark the following 16 right-of-ways, and bear with me here, I double-checked my numbers just before this meeting, and we would remove number 10 and add 40 and 50. I was looking at my wrong notes. So it would be to mark the following 16 right-of-ways: number 1, number 6, 16, 25, 27, 29, 30, 32, 34, 35, 39, 40, 48, 50, 52, and 54. And this is the project that I, again, talked about in the budget meeting.
Yep.
To budget $3,000 to get the signage and the concrete.
TJ, are one of these the Evanston Forney row?
It does not.
Oh.
And this is
Okay.
kind of a phase 1 approach. I know the comment in the public meeting was, you know, if you're gonna mark one, you better mark them all. This is gonna be kind of a guinea pig project. We identified these as the most accessible today, that individuals could use for various activities, ice fishing access, viewing vista, to get actually down to the water, to launch a boat, to launch a kayak. These are the ones that jumped out to us in that committee.
That meeting was
Okay.
very, very productive. I think we
We
were there
got a
for
lot
about
done.
2 hours, and I
Okay.
mean, it wasn't willy-nilly.
If there's no questions from the city council, can I have a motion to approve the recommendations of sending out the letters and marking the, is there still 16 rows?
Yeah.
16.
I'll make a motion
I-
that
I
we
s-
send out the letters and mark the right-of-ways.
Okay, I second.
Roll call.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yep.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, item D, before you is a memo regarding the Polaris Ranger. We did get one sealed bid. However, we opened the bid and it was $1,500 less than the listed minimum bid. So the sealed bid was listed at $15,000 and I was asking for a minimum of $16,500. So my question to you all is, do we want to accept the $15,000 or do we want to remove that sealed bid, throw it in the garbage, and put it on Facebook Marketplace or post it somewhere else?
What does the council want to do?
I say we hold on to it, reject the
Give
bid,
it a second crack.
and do it, yes, I agree. Second,
Okay,
They
so
came in kind of low.
reject this bid and put it back out, same price.
Do you want me to do sealed bids, or do you want me to go to like a
No.
Facebook Marketplace, just other avenues, rather than a sealed bid process?
can we go marketplace.gov or whatever it's
Well,
called?
we could do-
What is it?
Well, we could do it in multiple different
Called
ways.
govdeals.com.
Gov deals.
Gov deals, something.
Then do it.
I didn't do Marketplace, and that is a hot
As I say, you
area.
could sell it on Marketplace in 3 days for $16,500.
You're capturing people
I'd-
all the way down to Minneapolis.
Let's
I mean,
throw
it's-
it 16.5 for Marketplace, and if it goes for 16.5 on Marketplace, it goes.
Is that the,
Right.
is that a motion?
That's
It
a
has to be
motion.
Thank
bids,
you.
though. You can't just sell it outright. It has to be bids.
Does it?
Oh, it does?
Yes.
Well, can you
It's
bid on
competitive
Marketplace?
bidding. You can't just sell
So
it.
then
Well,
Gov-
put it for ISO 12345 on Marketplace like everybody does.
Do you
I
what
know
that
nothing
is?
about that. The only reason I would say Marketplace is just because we'd
It
probably
would
get the
sell quick.
16.5, but we could do Gov deals too. I mean,
We have to do that.
So you can do gov deals, whatever it is, without bids.
Whatever you want. It has to be
But now
bids.
you bought some stuff or sold some stuff or?
Well, I'm gonna have my stuff listed on there too here, hopefully by the end of the week.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a, did you make a motion?
I make
I'm
a
sorry.
motion that we post the side-by-side back on govbids.com or wherever you're going with it for 16.5.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Jackson?
Aye.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Motion carries.
all right, the last, or second to last item here is just the parks, no, excuse me, I'm jumping ahead. Item E here is approval to advertise for joint maintenance technician position. We've talked about this in a couple previous meetings. This would just give us the ability to advertise for it and get the process going. And this is, I believe, in the budget for 2024.
Was that job class in the union contract? Yes, no, I don't have it along. It is. Okay. Was the
Well, I think
council
we've,
on
I think we've determined that we need that position, so I'll make a motion that we advertise for a joint park maintenance technician position.
Are we doing it at 1875?
I can't remember that. We approved that in last month's meeting.
Whatever the wage scale was.
I think it was
I know it was approved,
1875.
yeah.
But I could be wrong. Okay, is there a second?
Yes.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Roll call.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yep.
Motion carries.
And is there a certain process you guys want us to move towards with this position? Who do you want to do the interviews? It's going to be Patrick and I are going to be the
What's your normal
supervisors.
process you use?
That would be a question for
I-
Mike. We've done it
That
a
would
few
be-
different ways. I mean,
I think,
The two department heads.
why don't you have Dave Nevin, because he's the liaison for Public Works?
With those two, with Pat and TJ,
Yeah,
the three.
yeah.
Sounds good.
Do we need a motion or? Okay. All
We
right.
already approved it.
Last item here is just an update. I'll keep it short. South Bay Park, we finally got our archaeological phase 1 survey completed back in July. 46 shovel tests were performed and they found nothing. I'm currently working with the Corps with future steps going from here, but that is a huge obstacle to get over, so pretty excited about that. The new Overlook Park, we poured concrete slabs on 8/28, and the parking lot and trail was paved on 8/30. If you haven't already seen it, feel free to go take a peek. It's really, really a nice addition. The next steps going from here is install the park signs, install cameras, install picnic tables, grade black dirt, construct portable toilet privacy fence. And then I already covered the insulation. That was my next topic. So if you don't have any more questions for me.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Just while you're here. The pickleball people are really coming after me hard and hot and heavy. About the lights, do we have any idea when the lights are gonna be fixed for the pickleball courts?
Patrick was gonna maybe.
I know you were on vacation,
I was on
but
vacation, so
those
it's on
women are
schedule
on me.
this week. Next couple days I'll be out there and we'll
Okay.
see what we can do.
And what we're gonna try to do is to not have a system where the lights just come on without players there. We're gonna wanna do something where
They flip it.
they can flip it on and off, but it's also on a timer. It's kind of a dual
Turns
system.
off by 10.
Right.
Yep, turns off automatically. They have to manually turn it on.
Even better.
Thank you.
Public Works.
All right, the first thing we had was the shouldering machine that we talked about for next year's budget. What I need is, hopefully you guys will go with a motion on it, that we can rent to own it this year, so we can take possession of it this week, so we can actually do some shouldering yet this year. And then we're gonna, do believe me and Mike talked, we'll put $10,000 down on it to rent it for the rest of the year. And then it's gonna cost us, what, about $100 a month to finance the rest till the first of the year, and then we'll run it through the budget at that time.
Well, the way you would do it is we're talking, you'd acquire it this year, it shows an expense for the full amount in the budget this year, and you'd just pay it, part of it now and part of it next year. But you're paying more, you're paying interest on it too, so. That's for the
Lease purchase.
37.5.
Lease purchase.
Essentially, yes.
What do you think, City Council?
Well, didn't we talk about this at the last council meeting?
Yep.
Yeah, I think,
I thought we,
I don't know if Pat was directed, but he was checking on whether we could lease it and then purchase.
Right, that's basically what it is lease to own or rent to own, however you want to look at it, so. If you guys agree on it, we can move forward, and we, like I said, we can have it here this week, and I'll work with Parks, so we can get a couple of their guys, and we can get some roads done this year.
Well, I'll make a I'll
I know
make,
TJ's guys don't have nothing going, but it'd be nice to get a couple of them done this year.
a couple roads.
Yeah, we're gonna try and hit as much as we can.
Okay, all right. Does somebody want to make a motion? Otherwise, I will make a motion to go ahead with the lease purchase agreement on the shouldering machine.
I'll second that, Marcia.
Roll call. Oh,
Sandy?
discussion. Maybe we want discussion too. Any? Roll call.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson? Yep. Aaron?
Yes.
All right, the next one is the 5-year road improvement plan. I don't know if you guys looked it over or not, or,
Yes.
Mike, do you want to describe more about it?
Sure, so what we did was, Tom, I think Tom is still here, Phil is here, myself and Pat sat down and we looked at all the roads and said, let's come up with an amount that we can show that we're actually getting something done on the roads and put a plan forward and bring it to the Public Works Committee. We had a lot of discussion at Public Works, and our priority was, let's first attack the roads that we have the best chance of preserving and extending their life. And that's primarily seal coat, correct, Phil? He's nodding his head. And so what we did was Phil listed all the roads. There's a map and specific roads listed for each of the 5 years beginning in 2024. And so that's the first item under 3B1, and then 3B2 is the actual improvement plan. There's maps in the improvement plan. The other thing is, you know, when we have a road plan, we have to find a way to pay for it. So what we've done in the past is we've identified the high end of what we would potentially issue bonds for to pay for a road program. And so there's, as we know, there's a number of different ways to pay for roads. We can just write a check and pay for them, levy the dollars and move on. We can assess them and charge the benefited property owners a fee, if you will. They can do the assessment process through either a petition from the benefited property owners, or the council can force an assessment with a 4/5 vote, similar to what we did in 2022. The other way to do it is to pass a resolution calling for a public hearing on the proposal to adopt a street reconstruction plan with the intent at some point in the future to implement that plan by issuing bonds for the mill and overlay portion of the road.
Okay, so to proceed, we have to have a public hearing. Do we have to approve this plan prior to the public hearing or after we have input on the public hearing?
You'd approve it after you had input.
Yeah.
You'd present your plan.
So
You'd
can-
call for a hearing, present the plan, take public input.
So is the resolution setting a date and time for the public hearing?
Yes, it is.
October 9th at 7:30 PM?
Correct.
Can I have a motion to approve this resolution setting a public hearing for the road improvement plan, 5-year plan, October 9th at 7:30?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, the last item on there, item C, was one of the additions. These were the outstanding sewer connections, and the highlighted ones are the ones that are, where the deadline is this month to get them connected. Shar, do you have any comment on that?
Yes, I do. So I would like your recommendation on how to handle a couple of these that we have not heard from. The first one on there, right? Kyle. We have not heard from them at all. I will send a letter, but I want to know what the penalty is going to be. The deadline to hook up was September 15th. They received a letter last fall telling them that, and there has been no communication from them. As you can see, Dodo Fraser, she has come in and paid. Eva Kreitz-Klau has come in and paid. I don't know what her status is. Simonson, we did tell them they had a year or two to connect because they're remodeling, and they were going to do it as part of their remodeling. And the ID one, Richard stopped in and said he thought that they had abandoned those tanks, but we have no paperwork, so he was going to try to find it, and I told him to do that before Friday. So that's where we're at. So what will the penalty be for people who do not hook up by the 15th? That's my question.
You haven't sent them a letter since last fall. So why don't we send that letter again and see if we can shake them loose to connect?
So
Could we add that there will be a penalty, no, not stating what it would be if they don't comply?
Well, in phase one, we started charging them a user fee
I was just
of
gonna-
$55 a month.
Right. Couldn't we just start charging them like they're using it? Just start billing them every month?
We could, but we also want them to
How can you
connect, so.
bill for something they don't have?
Well, it's a penalty.
Oh, we're going to say it's a
I'm assuming
penalty.
they're trying to avoid the
Right.
fee.
And then and when they didn't, if, in phase one, if they didn't respond to that, we increased it to twice as much. So instead of 55, it went to 110 a month. So that's how we did it.
Well, let's
in
hope
phase one.
everybody connects, but does somebody want, well, no, not by the 15th, but after they get the letter, that they will step up to the plate and connect. But guess we need a motion on whether you want to penalize them $55 a month for not connecting up as of a date.
Marcia, can we certify it to their taxes?
Yeah, if they don't pay it.
I wish Brad were here.
Yeah,
that he could tell
there's a
what-
way to do
You
that,
can-
but you have to
you
get
can- you can
I think it's called
assess.
injunctive relief. And then you can go in, once the court lets you do that, you can go in there and hook them up and then assess it to them.
Yeah, but the,
There's a way to do that, but that's
There's two different ways to do it, Brad said.
messy. The easiest way is just have them hook up.
but you're gonna consider $55 a month a penalty.
Do you make it steeper?
No, I'm just,
I'm just saying that's what we
Following
did in
up.
phase one. That was the penalty. I mean, because there's really
How many people
basically only two.
How many people in phase one?
There were probably 2 or 3.
Okay, so then just carry it
I
on.
want to say 2.
Do the same thing. I make a motion that we use the $55 a month charge fee for the sewer as a penalty for not signing up for the sewer system.
for not connecting.
I second that motion.
Did you second that, Sandy?
I did.
Okay, roll call.
Aaron?
Yes.
Sandy?
Yes.
Marcia?
Yes.
Jackson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Getting to be a long, long night.
Okay. Public forum. Action may or may not be taken on any issues raised. If council requires more information or time consideration, the issues will be placed on the agenda at the next regular council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address, and at the well, we got one, okay.
Cindy Mugato, the Cross Lake Chamber. Aaron, to answer your question, yes, there is a bonding bill tour at the National Loon Center Thursday morning at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
The House of Representatives from around the state will be coming in on a bus, checking it out. John will have a presentation. It bodes well to have city council or staff there.
I was out of town for the last one, so
Yeah.
I'm in town this one.
Thank you. Secondly,
Well, Cindy, didn't we already have some representatives come
that
through?
was from the senators. These will be House of
Okay,
Representatives.
all right,
Same tour, different branch of government.
okay.
And I talked over you, I'm sorry. Where?
The National Loon Center,
Okay,
the Nest in Town Square,
yeah.
8 a.m. Thursday. Anybody else that can make it, that'd be great too. You're all invited.
I really recommend you go. I was at the first one and it was fantastic and exciting to be there.
Thank you. Secondly, I just want to give a shout out to the business community for planning the Cross Lake Days coming up the last weekend in September. You've already approved the chili cook-off and the road closure for Pioneer Drive. I just wanted to remind you that we are having a cornhole tournament and a street dance on Pioneer Drive. It's the road between Reed's and Ace Hardware. And we'll have that closed from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Potentially. The cornhole tournament starts at 10, the street dance goes till 7. It all runs in the same time. The Historical Log Village is doing the candlelight tour. There's arts and crafts. There's 36 businesses doing the chili cook-off. Loon calling contest. The search for the lost chili pepper prize basket is valued at over $3,000. All the information can be found at crosslake.com, but the business community has really done a really good job this year of creating an event that's going to be a really fun weekend. And I ask your blessing again to work with Patrick on some cones and barricades over that weekend to keep traffic where we need to keep them and keep them away from where we need to keep them away from. Same as last year.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. City attorney bowed out, so there must
Brad-
not be a report.
Brad had a
Oh,
vote,
I'm
so
sorry.
he asked me to say he has no report. So.
He has no report. Thank you, Mike. Okay, old business. I have one question. Did we take down the private road sign that was
We did
mentioned?
not because it's cemented in, and I've been trying to find somebody down there to talk to them, but I just haven't found anyone
Oh.
yet.
Well,
Because
the-
it's all cemented in, I want
Oh.
them to move it so
Well, yeah,
they can destroy their own sign.
okay. So you'll make sure that that's done, then? You'll contact someone?
It'll be done.
Thanks, Pat.
Did you have something, Sandy?
No, I just said thanks, Pat.
Oh, okay. And then I want to make sure that we get a quote for erosion control on that right-of-way that we said we would do tonight. Do we direct Phil to or Pat? Who wants to take charge and make sure we have a quote at the next meeting?
That row right of way.
What?
The row right of way.
Yeah.
Okay.
What we approved to
Yeah.
take care of the erosion. Now we should.
Don't hang your head.
We kind of need the engineer involved in that to make sure that our quote covers
Me and Phil will get it
taking care of it.
I think
So,
both of those two will get
okay.
together.
So Pat and Phil are going to bring a quote to the next meeting that's going to remedy the erosion. Okay. I guess, any new business? Oh, that was new business. Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, yes. Thanks.